King.
Given the lack of this industry, principally in Maine, I come to this hearing unburdened by knowledge.
You'll fit right in.
He should be chairman.
I may have opened up
That was,
something.
it's gone downhill from there.
Let me just establish some basic principles. It sounds like the industry is agreeing that there should be royalties on minerals extracted from federal lands. Is that correct? Somebody who's representing the industry.
Yes, reasonable net prospective royalty, yes.
And what does the word net mean?
Net means that there are certain deductions that are allowed for example,
Why shouldn't
for
it just be a
processing.
royalty based upon the value of the minerals extracted, just as in oil and gas or coal?
Because there isn't a value to the mineral before it gets refined.
If there's no value to the minerals, why are you digging them out of the ground?
Well, we're putting in the upfront capital.
You
to
dig
get
something out of the ground and you sell it, right? Or do you refine it yourself?
It depends on the company. Some of the companies do some of the refining themselves, some do all the refining themselves. But yes, there is no value of, for example.
Well, there's a value somewhere. You sell, eventually, this is for profit.
Eventually, there is value,
So
correct.
why can't the royalty apply to the value that you derive from the mining? Seems pretty straightforward to me.
I think that that's oversimplification. I don't think it's that straightforward because otherwise you would, we wouldn't have any investment here in the United States because there's so much upfront capital that goes into
I don't
mining
understand.
projects.
A royalty only applies after you're making money. A royalty doesn't apply up front. A royalty applies, you're digging things out of the ground, you sell them, you get a revenue stream, and you pay a royalty. That's part of the cost of doing business for these other industries. Why isn't
Right.
that, why doesn't that operate for you? Just, the investors know they're going to make X amount of money, and part of that's going to be a payment of, one of the costs is going to be the payment of royalties.
Well, part of it is when you know you're going to get a return on your investment as well. I mean, I think investors look to that.
Of course.
And there's a much longer time frame for hard rock mining than there is for coal and oil
I
and gas.
still don't understand why a
Narrower
royalty on the money
margins.
that's
Narrower.
generated by the
And
mining
cyclical markets.
is any problem. And oil is in a global market. An oil producer can't name their price. I don't think that argument holds any water or hard rock.
Rich, maybe you want to,
Sure. Let me try to address a couple of issues there, because there's a lot of questions in there, and if you will, I'll unpack that a little bit. First of all, there's an important difference between the value of the mineral sitting in the ground and the value after it's produced.
I get that.
And the way I'll give you the example is...
No, you don't need to. I get that.
Oh, but let me give you this example. In our industry, when you buy gold in the ground, you may pay $100 an ounce to buy gold in the ground. When you sell it today, it's at about $1,700 an ounce. It's all that billions of dollars worth of investment that get you from that gold that may be worth $100 in the ground to the gold that's worth $1,700 when you sell it today. In Nevada, our net proceeds of mines tax, our net proceeds of minerals tax is a good example of a system that is very transparent and tracks all the minerals produced in the state, by the way. Nevada knows exactly what they produce because everybody pays it, no matter what the mineral is. And in the case of this, what you do is you establish the gross, you establish the sales price, and then there are certain deductions that are allowable. They're very transparent, they're very clear, the system works very well. And what it does is it recognizes the value that's added by the miner in creating it. Now, different minerals are different in the sense that they do have location value. And you're right, oil and gas get shipped all over the world, but it's shipped all over the world at an expense. And the expense of shipping plus the expense of royalty determines whether or not that oil can be sold profitably somewhere else. The gold industry, for example, is very different, as is copper. That price for an ounce of gold or for a pound of copper is set in the global market every day. Nobody's going to pay you $1,700 plus 8%. So it goes
But
to
the
the mining
value of
company.
oil is set in the global market every day.
It is.
I don't see the difference.
Well, there is a difference in the sense that the cost of a royalty does get passed on to a consumer in the case of something like
Why
oil and
wouldn't
gas
that
or
be the
coal.
case of a royalty? I mean, the royalty on oil gets passed on to the consumer, doesn't it?
It does get
Wouldn't
passed,
it,
but
wouldn't it also on gold?
no,
It would cost you a little more to generate some revenue from gold.
no, because it's basically traded every day in a central location, and the price you pay is the spot price that day.
So's
Nobody's
oil.
going to pay you for the royalty.
So's oil. Oil is set in a worldwide commodity market.
It is set at a worldwide commodity market, but as I say, there's a location value to oil. There's a location value to coal. There is no location value to metals.
So I'll ask you the same question. I am out of time. Are you willing to agree to a royalty on minerals produced on federal lands?
Yes, that is our position.
And you're going to tell us, and you have told us, I assume, how that's going to work.
We would like to model it on the Nevada net proceeds of mineral tax. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you,